Good morning. Good morning. I think we are live. Let's wait and see if it kicks in here. We're live. There we go. We got audio. All right. Well, I've already taken, I'm in my second trade of the day right now. We had news this morning at 7:30 as I was getting my daughter ready for school. So I missed this first, this lower high tick down from that upper power zone. That would have been a nice short right there. I did get this tick up from the lower power zone and entered long there. It came all the way up to my 125 tick take profit almost. I was like one tick away, and then it pulled all the way back. I moved my stop to break even. It almost hit my break even, and then it popped back up and finally hit my take profit. And then we ended up ticking down from this upper power zone right there. So I entered short, and that's the trade that I'm currently in. We'll go ahead and circle these. There we go. So as far as news goes today, let's check that out. Looks like the next news event is at 1 a.m. So no other important news today. We had that core PPI unemployment at 7:30. And that is it. Tomorrow there's really nothing going on, so looks like we are news free today. We got the open here in about 12 minutes. Right now we're currently sitting on top of this pivot line. That's this orange line right here. It's also a previous week high, the yellow line right there. We're underneath both VWAPs at the moment. We got the session VWAP that I have anchored to the 7 a.m. candle right here. That's the squiggly orange line. The blue line at the top is the regular VWAP. As far as high time frames go, in the hourly, we're currently bullish. We have a positive sloping confirmation line. The delta is above confirmation line, so we're bullish there. The opposite is true on the 15. We're underneath the confirmation line on the 15. Confirmation line has a negative slope currently. However, we are down there at the bottom power zone, so this could turn bullish pretty easily. And the 5-minute is currently bearish, and it looks like we're just kind of going sideways on the 5, so that's where we're currently at. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I had my news up the whole time. I always forget to change that view. There's the correct view. We're currently ticking up from that green zone, so I just moved my stop to break even on this one. So on the 1 minute, the confirmation line is relatively flat. It looks like we're just kind of going sideways here. So those power zone entries are probably where it's at as long as we continue to trade sideways. But if we could break out of this range and start trending, I think the bulls might have a little bit of an upper hand here on the 1, just because there is more of a positive slope than there is a negative slope, I guess. The delta is above the confirmation line. And the delta is starting to turn positive here. So, and we are like just a few ticks away from taking out my break even. So am I going to get away with it? So far, I am. It's very close. From an EMA perspective, we are under most of the EMAs. So we are technically bearish on those. However, we're kind of chopping this session VWAP here. So, I mean, it could really go either way here pretty easily. I still have more of a bullish bias just because the delta is above that confirmation line. And it's positive and starting to turn up. So I think I'm going to get stopped out here. There's the 825 candle. Just kind of smacked it down a little bit. Ended up ticking down from that red zone. Still got a feeling I'm going to get taken out here. Well, so far it's been kind of a barely get away with it kind of morning. I just missed my TP on that first trade by a tick. I almost broke even by a few more ticks down here when it pulled back. Ended up getting it only by a few ticks later on. And so far, so close. All right. It just took me out there. So I thought maybe we could get away with that one too, but no, that's a break even. It went as far as looks like 18 3/4 points before taking me out. So I'm still am a little bullish on this one. We got that delta turning up. It's gaining strength in these delta candles. We just got to tick up above a rising delta right here, which is typically very bullish. I'm tempted to go long here right before the open. I thought I saw somewhere that Trump is ringing the opening bell today. So I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm not sure what kind of an effect of that would actually have on the market, if any. About 40 seconds for the opening bell. Like I said, I'm tempted to go long here on this tick up entry right there, right where I got stopped out at break even. However, maybe I should just wait for the next signal. And here we go. So far, we're pushing down a little bit. We are getting tick down from that upper power zone. It's not a clean one. Barely made it in that upper power zone. The delta's starting to turn negative. They really like to turn it right around right there at the open, don't they? Back down to that pivot line, which is at 673. We'll see if that can offer any support. Man, I am tired today. I got up really early yesterday, and I think that kind of screwed me up a little bit. I tried getting up early today, and it just wasn't happening. Starting to get a tick down on that 5 minute. That 5 minute still looking pretty bearish. Got that negative delta slope over there. $15 as well. Kind of a lot of chop sitting in here already. Go ahead and mark those out, our little chop boxes. Even like in here, I mean, this is, you know, to go from positive to negative in this short period of time is, I consider that chop, so we'll mark it out. Well, good thing I didn't go long there, guys, because they flipped it around on a dime right there. Jay Waz is here. Good morning, Jay Waz. Oh, that's too bad. You're not feeling good. You know, this is, I don't feel great this morning, but it's nothing compared to like the last week was terrible. Then I finally felt like I got over it, and now I feel like I'm kind of sliding back in the dumps a little bit. All right. Starting to get a tick up from this lower power zone. That was right after testing this little bit of an order block down here. So I think I might go ahead and take this one. All right, I just went long there. I'm long at, looks like 676. And 125 ticks will take me right back up there towards VWAP. If we can get there. Right now it's looking a little iffy. Yeah. I almost got taken out right there. Well, can I get away with it? It's been that kind of a morning. So maybe I can. She's pulling back up. Man, I was one tick away from getting stopped out right there. Not really liking this price action though. It's looking kind of nasty. We're just barcoding right now. Delta looks like it's trying to thicken back up. That's not a good sign. Not for the bulls anyway. We did end up ticking down there right below that delta. So I might have to, well, she's trying to perk back up a little bit here. I really do not like that type of price action. But hopefully it gets going here. If it can at least get up there and kiss VWAP, I'll be happy. All right, we got the signal line up there in the red zone now. So if we end up ticking down here, I'm just going to have to pull the plug. That delta's looking really spotty and choppy again. Hopefully it can pull out of it. We are flashing a tick down, but it's not official yet. That's why we wait for the candle close. La Hong Ting, good morning. Got about 10 seconds here. I am above break even, so we are ticking down. I'm going to go ahead and move to break even instead of, I said I was going to pull the plug if we tick down there, but I just moved to break even instead because there's a chance, and it just took me out. So another break even. That's fine. We'll just wait, be patient for it to work itself out. Now it's going to run up and hit my VWAP. Better to play it safe, I guess. Yeah, so far, if you look at the delta, it's not pretty. We do not have very smooth moves today yet. That news was the best price action so far. Yeah, that delta's looking really ugly. You can see it tried to switch to like a positive trend, then a negative trend, then a positive trend, a negative trend. Those are all those little triangles in there. So just kind of, that's that nasty barcoding. So I will stay away from that until it works itself out. Yeah, so Trump did ring the bell today, it looks like. It says Trump becomes first president since Reagan to ring the opening bell at the stock exchange. Well, so far, the market isn't doing crap, so I was kind of hoping that would push the market one way or the other. But the market is just kind of, the market itself had its bell rung. It's just sitting here. Still does seem like it wants to push up, though, to me. We just had another tick up above the delta. The delta's flat, though, so it's kind of, it could still go either way, but if you're just looking at the 15 and the 5, those are telling you it should probably be going down. Delta's currently positive, though, and it looks like it's starting to rise. Well, maybe not anymore. Now we're starting to flash a lower high tick down on that signal. Just total garbage so far. Well, let's see if Bitcoin's doing anything. It looks like we're creating a bit of a bull flag on Bitcoin. I'm mostly in cash on crypto right now. Just got a couple little positions here. Well, if we end up consolidating a lot right here, looks like we've already created a 15-minute range, so let's mark that out. If we break outside that range, it's probably going to want to go somewhere. So here's the opening candle. Where's the 844 candle? Right here. All right, so there's the high within that range. Here's the low. So we'll mark this off as our 15-minute range. And now we will wait and be patient and look for a break above or below that. Just ended up getting our second tick up above, I wouldn't say rising delta, a flat delta. As long as we stay inside that 15-minute range, we can expect it to chop. Now it's starting to put in, it's like a third lower high, tick down. Delta is increasingly getting negative. So right now it's looking like she wants to go short. Jay Waz, are you still playing around with MicroStrategy today? Let's see how MicroStrategy is doing. No, not today. Those moon phases, man. Crazy, huh? This is NQ in the hourly. In the hourly, the 50% mark, or 50% fib on that whole hourly move is sitting down here at 21,588. Could be a potential bounce zone. Well, this price action's making me wish I just stayed in bed. Doesn't get much worse than this so far. I know it's going to pull out of it, but it's boring. First half hour is completely boring. You know, this current chop zone is starting to look like a Christmas tree. Maybe it's trying to be festive. Well, we got the 9 o'clock candle here in 5 minutes, so hopefully that'll push it in some direction. Choppity chop chop. Not much to do right now. Just wait and be patient. This is the boring side of trading. Not much to do. She's trying to pop back up here. Can she do it? Got a lot of bot alerts going off. That's what all the noise is. Well, what do we know about very big, long, tight consolidations like this, guys? Usually, once it breaks out of it, it likes to move pretty good. That's the upside to waiting and being patient. However, it could do this for hours. Hopefully not. You know, I don't know what's up with these comments that I'm getting on my live streams. Actually, all my videos. They're all like it's some type of scam or something, but they're all very similar. I'll read one to you guys. This fake bot or person, whoever it is, says, "Great analysis, thank you. Just a quick off-topic question. My OKX wallet holds some USDT, and I have the seed phrase." And then he spells out his seed phrase: alarm, fetch, churn, bridge, exercise, tape, speak, so on, so on. How should I go about transferring them to Binance? That must be like the 10th comment that I received that has that same sort of exact phrasing. And I have no idea. Like, I know it's not a real person. I know it's a scam, but like, what are they trying to do? I just don't even understand what the purpose of that is. It does not make much sense to me. Well, it looks like we peeked our head out at the bottom of this 15-minute range briefly. JOS says, just to start a conversation at first and then to show you how dumb you might possibly you might be to eventually scam you. Yeah, you're probably right. Or probably not me, but probably somebody else in the comments. That's one of the problems with this industry. There's so many scammers out there. So many people trying to impersonate the person on YouTube or the Discord or wherever it is. It's like a plague. Hopefully everybody knows not to participate in any of that crap. If you ever see a message come across that looks like it's from me, it's probably not me. I don't send messages out to anybody. So just beware. Delta's getting a little bit thicker to the positive side. As long as we remain inside this range, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. K. John, after the European close, it will get better. Hopefully. What time is the European close at? It's at 9:30 Central Time. Well, this is some of the nastiest looking chop I think I have seen in a long time. 11:30 your time in Florida, so that's Eastern, so that'd be 10:30 my time. So we got over an hour of this to wait. That sounds yucky. I don't think the market can wait that long. I think people will start pushing it one way or the other. Looks like we're trying to push down. We got the biggest delta candle we've had so far in this chop right now. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is the volume break we're looking for. Just took out the previous low. No, I wasn't referring to news coming. I was referring to the European Open that K. John was talking about. He thought it would get better after, not the Open, the European close. He thought it would get better after the close, which isn't until like 10:30 my time, so it's like an hour and 20 minutes from now. Well, we broke outside the range, so now I'm just looking for a signal. You know, well, some people just jump in right when it breaks the range, but I don't do that. I tend to wait for something that I recognize. We did come back up and retest this little order block here and the range. So, like right there would have been probably a decent entry if you wanted to be somewhat aggressive for a short. Right there. I'm just not 100% convinced yet. We could just pop right back inside that range. This could be a fake out. But it does look like, we just tested it again. It does look like she wants to drop now. Look at the 4-hour Heikin-Ashi candle that you sent me. All right. So it's looking bearish there, huh? Those delta candles are really thick now. We have broken outside of our chop box on the cumulative delta. So it appears that the train has left the station. Now we just need to figure out how to jump on the train. We are getting that tick up from that lower power zone, but I'm kind of eyeballing that 8 SMA right now as a potential entry. But we did just take out that liquidity on that other low over there. So, and we ticked up from that lower power zone. This could be a giant fake out right here. Still kind of on the fence. However, I think I might go ahead and try a short on the 8. And I just got picked up right there. $6.50. We'll see how this goes. Now it consolidated for such a long time that if we start really moving down here, I'm not going to use my 125 ticks because this could actually get some momentum going here. So I just kind of have an open position right now with no explicit take profit. I'll just end up using the cumulative delta to exit on this one. Looks like that entry was pretty good on the 8. Gotta love the 8. So those delta candles, we want to see them remain thick like they currently are. We don't want to see those thin out. If it starts to thin out and we start to tick above those delta candles, I'm going to have to pull the plug. But as long as they can remain thick and we continue to drop, we should be good. Also, ideally, we need to stay underneath that 8 SMA as well. Right now, we're currently above it. I don't want to start closing above it, though. We did just get a signal close above it, which isn't, it's not ideal. This could still continue down, but the delta's starting to taper and starting to round up a little too. Not something I really want to see. All right, I just pulled it at break even there. That's fine. We will wait for a better entry. See how the delta is starting to really taper up? That's what I didn't want to see. I I wanted to see those candles remain fat and thick to the downside. Like I said, this could have all just been a giant fake out. We did get that tick up from the power zone. If that's all we were trading today were power zones, this would have been a long entry right here. And so far, it looks like that was the move. And that's what I was kind of afraid of that whole time there. But yeah, that one I think probably would have hit already. So we were going for, yeah, we were going for 125 ticks. It hit already. This is when, you know, you end up sitting around during those consolidations for such a long time, and you start to get an idea in your head of what you think the market's going to do, because you have so much time to sit here and dream up a bunch of things. And at that moment in time, I I had the assumption that we retested the 15-minute range and we were going to start heading down. So I wasn't even thinking about going long there. But once again, the indicator proves me wrong. Those power zones, man. So this is our third higher low tick up on the signal line from the lower power zone on the 15. That's actually, so I have this marked as bearish, but that's actually pretty bullish. So I'm going to mark the 15 as neutral. Only because the delta is still under the confirmation line. The confirmation line's still headed down. So like overall, we are technically bearish over there, but in the immediate short term, that's bullish on the 15. On the 5, we're still just kind of chopping, so I'm just going to keep that as bearish on the 5. The hourly is still bullish. We have that signal line all the way down at the bottom of the indicator. So on the hourly, this could pop here if we get a tick up on the bottom. A little bit of disagreement across the board there. It's always pretty choppy when there's disagreement. Well, we finally touched VWAP, guys. The first time today. Back inside that 15-minute range, so what will she do here? Well, just the fact that we consolidated for such a long time and we're right back to the top of that consolidation, and we tried to break out the bottom and it failed, that is pretty darn bullish. So even if we get a tick down from that upper power zone here, I would not go short. Delta is now clearly above that confirmation line, and that's a pretty steep slope on that delta. That's very bullish. Oh yeah, she wants to go. So now what I would be waiting for is a retest the top of this 15-minute range. See if we can get a tick down and then a tick up above that delta, and that'll be the long that I'm looking for. Pedro, just checking in. I'm at work. How's it going? It is, well, it's been going sideways. Not a whole lot going on. We've been mostly just sitting on our hands, not doing much. However, overall, still up on the day. 31.25 points. Right now, we are looking for a long entry. So we came down and just kissed the top of that 15-minute range, and then she wanted to go. I was looking for more of this type of thing, for the signal to come down and tick up. It's been so strong, it wasn't even able to do that. I'm still going to wait and be patient, though. I thought it would at least come back down and touch VWAP. It hasn't done that yet. Man, it's moving, though. I think if I just went long there, it's almost close to take profit already. If you went long on the top of these candles, yeah, it's almost to the TP from there. Not much of a retest, though. Just wants to go. We did get that tick down from the upper power zone. Maybe this is where we'll get more of a retest. And you guys know what I'm going to say. We have a potential broadening formation here we got to be aware of. We're at the top of the formation. So technically, Jay knows what I was doing. So technically, if we get rejected up here at this yellow line, we can expect to come back down to this lower low here and retest that yellow line, take out that low. That would be the target. It's only if we get rejected here, though. If we expand outside this line, then it, that would invalidate that idea. Pedro, why no entry from lower power zone? That is a great question. Well, I was in a short right here before that printed. And at the time, I was so worried about my current position and trying to worry about how to manage it. I wasn't even looking for a long there. But yeah, I should have went long right there. That would have been a great long. Speaking of longs, we are ticking up about above that rising delta, so I'm going to give this one a try here. Did just go long there. But like I said, we're at the top of that broadening formation, so if we get rejected, we know where it's going to potentially go. I'm in at 707.50. However, we just got to keep that on our radar. As long as the cumulative delta is saying we're going up, that's what I got to mainly focus on. So, this is a valid long entry there with a tick up above that aggressively rising delta. We are back above the 8. The 8 would have been a better entry. So we'll see if it can continue to push up and expand here. It is a bit risky, though, up there in that red power zone to go long. But, we were consolidating for so long. We tried to break out the bottom. We broke out of the top. I still got a feeling we're going to want to expand the upside here. We got the daily open sitting up here. But if I'm underwater and we tick down right here, I'm going to have to pull the plug. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. It almost ticks down. The current candle is the make it or break it for me. Got to see where we close here. And I pulled it. It just didn't want to go. It's 550 on that one. And you know, I was actually thinking about flipping there because of our broad information idea. It is a lower high in that upper power zone. I probably should have flipped, but it's still like psychologically hard for me when I'm in one direction because of one idea, and then I know that that's kind of a turning point or a pivot point where we could, you know, there's a setup in the opposite direction as well. Psychologically, it's hard to do that really quick in your mind and exit, jump in the other way. Usually gives you more entries though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to still try to catch this short, but I'm going to get in on the 8. And then if we close above the 8, that's my line in the sand. So if I can get picked up, hopefully it'll just be a wick. And I just got picked up. So I am short from 775. Now we just need it to be a wick. We don't want it to close above the 8. It's not looking good so far. And I pulled it. Lost another 8 3/4 on that one. So I had to retest that 15-minute range twice, it looks like. Not ideal how that played out right there. Turned negative for a moment. That is chop. Well, that kind of threw a wrench in my plans right there, but that's what happens sometimes. It's trading for you. That 5-minute is looking a lot more bullish now, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that to bullish. That delta is getting fatter. It's rising. It's above the confirmation line. And we just flipped on our green cloud on there, so. And the hourly is ticking up. It won't be official for 21 more minutes, but that is, on the hourly, that's going to be very bullish. Because we got this, we had a strong move up, and we have a, the delta is negative, but it's just kind of slowly pittering and falling, and that's normal for a pullback. Signal made it to the bottom power zone. It's ticking up, so I mean this could potentially blast on the hourly. Just got another tick down in that upper power zone. A little bit of bearish divergence there, guys. That whole broadening formation idea is not completely off the table. Not yet. It is looking really weak. So that tick down right there, that was at 940. How's this one? That one looks good. Well, shoot. You went for the short? Did you take that tick down? I wasn't even really watching for that, to be honest, but I should have been. That delta's starting to roll over again. Negative. We're getting a tick down on the 5. So, yeah. Be interesting to see if that broadening formation actually plays out. Yeah, this is kind of the level to watch here. You need to hold above that for the bulls to stay strong. But if we start breaking below that, I'm tempted to try to enter on the 8 again. But I will, I'm going to stick to the playbook signals here. No, I didn't take it. I put that on there to kind of remind myself that I probably should have taken that, because we did get that tick down with bearish divergence right there on my broad information line. I mean, I should have been watching for that, and I wasn't. So I'll get rid of that. Technically, we're still bullish here on, you know, on the 1, because we still have this rising confirmation line. However, the delta is negative, so they're kind of fighting each other right now. But if we get the signal to pull up here somewhere and then tick down, and if the delta is still weak and it's still falling, then I'm going to go short. Now, it did tick up from the green zone, so, I mean, technically, this is it's a long entry right there. I'm still thinking, I still got my short bias in my head, though, so I'm not really looking for a long here. I already got burned once trying to go long by this broad information line. I also got burned trying to go short. Market's just kind of nasty today. We got more chop setting in here. You know, I might be getting to that point where I've been so bored, I'm looking at too many things. I need to simplify it down and just focus on the playbook signals. That's usually where you find clarity. It's like this long that I wasn't looking for that I probably should have jumped in. That's straight out of the playbook. You know, I have this this bias to look for a short here, but until that actually plays out, I should still be taking the long setup too. JWaz, how are you feeling about your power zone entry strat so far? Well, every time I've done it, it's been somewhat of an amazing day. I'm not really focused on that today. Maybe I should be. Today, well, and here was my thinking around there is I knew that we had big news yesterday, big news today. And so leading into the news, I had this mindset that we were going to range. And so the last few days before that, I was in this mode where I was only going to take power zone entries, which worked really well. But now that the news is out, I just kind of had this feeling that we'd get back to normal and I could go back to the normal, playing all the playbook entries. So I haven't really been just focused on the power zones, but I mean, even today, if you look here, I mean, this was a winner going up here. I did get in this short. I ended up getting stopped out at my break even, but if I wouldn't have moved to break even, which is what I was doing the last few days, I told you I wasn't using a break even rule. I was just literally waiting for it to either hit my 80 tick stop or tick up from the opposite power zone. In this case, if I would have done that today, it wouldn't have stopped me out at break even there. It would have taken me to right here. This tick up down there. And that would have been a profitable trade. That would have been, looks like 15 points there. And then I would have went long. And I would have held through all of this. Looks like I would have got stopped out at 80 ticks, so 20 points. But then I would have been back in on this lower power zone here, and that would have been a big winner. So I think, that's a strategy that I think probably works every day. Because it's really good for chop, it's really good for ranging, and it does that mostly. It doesn't trend most days. And then when it is trending, you usually get stopped out maybe on the first one, and then you just kind of wait, hold, and sit tight, be patient until you're taking your power zone entries again. And by that time, you're usually back in a range. So yeah, maybe I should be taking just power zones today. All right. We just got that tick down I was looking for. Delta is weak. That's what we're looking to do, is take advantage of a weak delta. So I just took that short over there. I'm in at 707.75. What we have going against us, though, is that Delta's still rising. So it's weak, but it's still rising. So hopefully it can just continue to roll over here. It's not going to play nice, is it? That delta's starting to come back. Buyers are stepping back in. We're starting to put in a a higher low on the signal. Yeah, maybe I should just move back to just taking the power zones. There's just so much chop today. Look at how many chop boxes we have on the screen. It's like, it's all chop. So, I just pulled the plug there. Minus 13 points. All my profits are getting eaten up, guys. Now this one, you know, I mapped all this out in my head ahead of time. You know, I told you guys I was looking for it to come down here, to come back up here somewhere and tick down under a weak delta. It met all that criteria. The only thing going against us was by that time that it turned weak, it turned back into a rising delta and wasn't falling anymore. Ideally, you want it to continue falling like this. See how it's falling over here? You want it to kind of maintain that slope. So it wasn't an ideal setup. I probably should have just waited on that one, but it is what it is. Yeah, at this point, I think I'm just going to go back to power zones. Pedro says it's coming up on the 3-minute power zone. He said that at 9:55. Was that old? Let's look at the 3-minute. Yeah. See, this delta's, it's rising pretty aggressively all throughout here on the 3. This is still kind of a bearish pattern though. You know? It's kind of like a rising channel. And it does appear weak. We are starting to tick down on the 3. The delta's tapering. I don't know. We did just get another tick down under the delta. Still looking pretty weak to me. Chihuahuas, if you're going back to power zones, check it out. If we look back on the chart, you should be short currently. You mean like if I took this, yeah, this one right here? Yep, that is true. These bulls are just trying to keep it propped up here. JWA says maybe for short, it's worth waiting for the 5-minute signal line to hit the power zone and tick down for some extra momentum. Yeah. That is not a bad idea. On the 5-minute, it looks pretty consistent. There's not a whole chop there. But we are up in that upper power zone area on the 5. So, yeah, it could just be a matter of timing out the tick down on the 5. You know, if we're waiting for an ideal setup, ideally we want this delta to actually be rolling over like that. So yeah, it was weak right here, but it wasn't rolling over yet. So if we can get it to start to roll over, and then if we continue to put in, like, you know, these lower high tick downs underneath it, then I'll go short again. Bitcoin just hit 102, huh? There's a lot of liquidity built up there on the heat map. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it looks like Bitcoin's trying to break out of that bull flag here. Aave looks like it's running pretty good. You know, I didn't have my bots turned on here, but I kind of wish I did. If I did, it would have bought on... Do you see how the delta starts turning negative right here? I'm sorry, not negative, positive. And then we tick up with a higher low. So my bot's configured to buy when we get a higher low, if the delta, as long as the delta is positive. So it would have bought there, and it does it again right here. So it would have added to my position right here. And as long as the delta stays above the confirmation line, the bot keeps me in this whole time. So if I would have done that, turn those bots on, I'd be up like 37% right here. Reason why I didn't have them on is because the delta was still under this confirmation line, and I was a little skeptical at this time. But looks like I should have just believed what the cumulative delta was telling me. So you're back in MicroStrategy, huh? Yeah, crypto does seem really strong right now. Looks like Doge is building up a little bit of a bull flag here too. AVAX is looking really good. And I just have two little crypto positions right now. I'm in ETH and TIA. What is that? Celestia. I think that's what that's called. You know, I don't even care about like the actual crypto projects themselves. I could care less. I just trade the charts. If the chart says it's going to go up, my bots buy me in. I don't really care what the ticker is. Well, we are still pushing up here. We're still below the daily open, so technically on the daily candle we are negative. We have a negative daily candle so far. It's a bit of a doji right now. Here's our daily broadening formation. We are kind of up there near the top of that one, so if we fall apart here later today, we could end up down here. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. We did get a tick down from that upper power zone, but we've just been kind of grinding up, so I'm kind of afraid to take it. It's like this order block down here held pretty good. And that one held. We'll see if we can hold here. I'll be right back, guys. Look at that. It came right down. Just kissed the top of that little order block there. And every time I see that, I always question, like, why am I not just putting orders on those things? It seems to work really well. Well, it is a cold one here today, guys. I woke up this morning, it was -10 outside. Fahrenheit, for those of you that are not in the United States. What is that Celsius? I don't even know. -10 would be, it's like -23.3 degrees Celsius. Man, that's cold. Snowing at all? Not today. It snowed like an inch or two a couple days ago. You know, it's weird because it typically doesn't snow the colder it gets. Like, you would think it would snow more, but it's kind of the opposite. It snows more when it's closer to like freezing, like closer to 32. Then when it gets really cold like this, it's like all the moisture just kind of disappears. Like the skies are clear. There's hardly any clouds in the sky. And yeah, just no snow. All right, that delta is rolling over. It's weak. We are getting a tick down there. Should I take it? This is technically, we are ticking down on the 5 as well. I think I might give it a shot. I just went short. I'm short at 723. Probably would have been better if I went short on the 8 instead. So yeah, every time I don't do that, I wish I did it. I would have been there in short there instead. So now if this trade ends up failing, I'm going to lose a little bit more. Hopefully it doesn't fail. What we got going for us on our side this time is we finally have a negative sloping delta that's weak. Which was not the case the last time we tried this. See how good those 8 SMA entries are? So good. Again, the trick with those, though, is you can't just enter on the 8 anywhere. You have to get the signal first on the cumulative delta and then enter on the 8. That's typically the sweet spot. But you got to have patience to do it. And you might miss the trade if it never makes it back to the 8. So that's why I'm a little bit more aggressive and like to just jump right in. Would not be a bad idea to jump in on the close and then add to your position on the 8. That wouldn't be bad. A lot of times the 15-minute range can continue being a key level throughout the day. So it's not a bad idea to, if we do make it down here, to take profit around the top of that 15-minute range. If we make it down there. We're ticking up from that green zone. So technically, if we close like this, that's a long entry, but so if we close like that, I'm definitely going to pull the plug at a small loss. Whereas if I would have got in on the 8, it wouldn't be a loss at all. It would be maybe a small win. Yep, that's going to force me out. I'm out, and I just flipped. Minus 6. 6.25. Didn't I say I was just going to take power zone entries? What happened to that idea? JWaz, are you going to power zone play this, or what do you think? I'm assuming you wrote that a while ago. Yeah, I jumped in along here. It wasn't the power zone though, so I'm still not quite on the power zone strategy exclusively yet today. Here's the thing. If I turn my EMAs back on, EMAs are pretty bullish. We're back above the 20. We got this tick up from the green zone. The delta is still really kind of thin. It's not really gaining much momentum to the downside. So, you know, I've tried shorting this a couple times. It keeps failing. So if I can't beat them going short, I might as well join them going long. Now they're going to make me pay. We're getting another lower high. Delta's still weak. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, so we got to pull it again. This is why power zones are nice, because you don't have to mess around with all this crap in the middle. So I'm out again. $9.25 on that one. Ouch. Yeah, as long as that delta's got that negative slope, I mean, and if it's gaining any sort of negative momentum on those delta candles, then yeah, it should be shorts is where it should be, but there's so much chop today. I don't really trust any direction right now. Signal's almost back down into that lower power zone. Well, maybe I should just wait for the power zone entries. You want to go outside? My dog wants to go outside and freeze, so hold on a second. We'll see how long she lasts out there. She'll probably be asking to come back in here in a minute. Kind of sitting right there on the 50. Looks like that initial entry on the 8 was the ideal spot. Well, we are getting a power zone tick up right here on the 50. I guess if I'm taking power zone entries, I got to take it. And I am long at 721.50. Let's see if I do any better on this one. Power zone should be where it's at if we're chopping. We did just close below that confirmation line, so that is a little bit more bearish up there. That's when you typically want to start looking for shorts. So I'll have to keep a short leash on this one. We ended up ticking down there. I'm still in. Excuse me. So the strategy I was using before that was really successful with these power zones is that even if it ticks down by a power zone, I would not exit the trade, I'd just stay in and kind of, give the trade the benefit of the doubt, hope that my stop doesn't get hit. So I guess I will take that approach. So the only way I can exit is if my stop gets hit or if we tick down from that upper power zone. Or if it hits my take profit, which is 125 ticks up. However, looking back at those, even though that was successful, there were a lot of cases where I would experience significant drawdown, almost hit my stop, and in those cases, it would have been better off if I just pulled the plug a little earlier. So I don't know, I'm still kind of on the fence about that, whether that's a better method or not. Meaning, whether to exit early if it ticks down against me and I'm underwater. It's like here, we tick down, we did put in a higher low, but if we tick down again, with the delta under the confirmation line, I don't know, might be better to just pull it. Yeah. JWaz says today's conditions don't suit anything. That's right. If the price isn't moving, if it's just going sideways, the only way you can really make money on anything is if the price moves. So if it's not moving, it's going to be really hard to make money, and then you end up in a position where you're forcing trades that might not even be there. So yeah, this one's not looking good now. Delta candle's getting thicker under that confirmation line. I pulled it. $10.25 on that one. So, you know, it's weird, like looking at the 15, got a negative sloping delta, but it's positive. Let me go ahead and flip the 15 back to bearish, because I think it is. Delta's under that confirmation line. Confirmation line is headed down. And what do you know? We're popping back up here. The hidden one, what do you mean about not moving? It's literally up over 120 points. You mean since when? Since the low? Yeah, it's about 114 points. Yeah, there was a big move in there, but if you look at it, like if you missed, where's my brush? Here it is. If you missed this, which I should have caught, but I missed it, then really all you're left with is this sideways action and this sideways action. So yeah, it's up, but I mean, there's really one, you know, really decent trade in there. You know, once it starts just kind of grinding sideways, then it's tough. Let me go check on my dog. Hold on a second. was looking out the window and I didn't see her anywhere. I was like, I wonder if she walked away. And I opened the door. She was just sitting right next to the door. So she did want in. It's cold out there today. Well, good thing I pulled it early on that one, because that would have been a bigger loss if I'd held in there. You know, going back to the C Delta basics, once you have this Delta cross, that is the point at which you should start looking for shorts and not longs. And, you know, the opposite's true down here. Once you have that cross right there, that's when you want to start looking for longs. So anytime you're trying to trade against that side that the Delta is on, you could potentially have a hard time. That's what I've been having a hard time with today, is trying to, you know, I had this other idea in mind, and that's part of my problem here. So what we should be looking for, knowing that, is for this to come back up in this zone, tick down, and if the Delta is still underneath the confirmation line at that point, that would be more of an ideal place to go short. Well, you know, you guys have heard me say a bunch of times that if it chops in the morning, it usually gets good in the afternoon, and vice versa. So it could potentially open up here at lunchtime, because we have been chopping most of the morning, even though technically we did go up 120 points or whatever it was. This is fairly typical of holiday price action, though, you know. You know, even if the market moves a lot, but if it does it in a grindy sort of way, I would actually rather just not trade those days. It's hard to know ahead of time what the market's going to do, though. We're back down to VWAP. We just kissed it there on that last candle. So JWaz, you went long on MicroStrategy. Are you trading like the 1 minute on MicroStrategy? I'm just curious. Tesla sure is going up. Wow. Tesla's at 424 now. Oh, nice. So will this 15-minute range act as support? Or are we going to slice through and end up somewhere down here? What was that line that I put on the screen? Is that on the daily? I think that was the daily. Or no. The hourly. Yeah, that was the 50%. I'm going to go ahead and mark that off. That was the 50% level on the hourly move. Getting a little bit of a bounce on VWAP there. We're going to tick down from the red zone on the 15. The hourly, we're still ticked up on from the power zone on the hourly. So still a lot of discrepancy across the board. Let's see what gold's doing. Oh. There we go. Well, gold looks a hell of a lot smoother than NQ. There's a nice power zone entry right here. Oops. Those bears are stepping in here. Delta candle's getting thicker. It's just a grind down, isn't it? Starting to lose VWAP. We have the session VWAP that we're about to lose. Back inside that 15-minute range. Jwaz, Teammaker, how much you want to bet it tags your broadening bottom? I think there is a high likelihood that we end up down there. Especially now that we're breaking inside this 15-minute range. Well, if we shorted that from here and we end up down there, it'd be about 75 points. Still really risky to go short from this point, though. Look at the delta on the 5. We were heading up. We got that tick down from the power zone right there. And then she just, look at that. It's gaining momentum as it's rolling over. And we got the corresponding tick down on the 15. So, I mean, the 15 and the 5 are, they're pretty much aligned right now. From a power zone perspective, not from a confirmation line perspective. But you know, looking back at the 1 here, it's like, yeah, we did have that confirmation line cross. We are headed down. But this type of price action is nasty. This is what I call the Charlie Brown t-shirt price action. It looks just like Charlie Brown's t-shirt. I would much prefer if we just had, like, you know, some normal swings in here. Jwaz, you went long on NQ or MicroStrategy? This is the first high or low tick up we've had from the power zone. Exited at VWAP. Nice trade there. Jwaz has been on a roll lately. Nice. Back at break even for the day. I still have a ways to go before I could get there. All it takes is one good trade, though, you know. By the way, I am still bearish just because that delta's under that confirmation line. So I'm still waiting for this to kind of get up in here somewhere, ideally in the power zone, and tick down. Let's clean up the screen a little bit. Look how perfect that entry would have been right there. Delta's flashing positive. Seems to be losing its steam to the downside. Here's another candle body consolidation that we just rejected off of. See how we wicked right into there and rejected? I'm going to start trading those again, I think. They just seem like they work really well. Delta's still headed down, but look how thin it is. It's abnormally thin. It's usually not a good idea to short into that. So ideally, I'm still waiting for this signal to get up in this red zone and tick down. That delta's falling, but it's positive. Now it's starting to gain a little bit more strength. Try more of a riskier short here. Trying to keep a short leash on it though. If it starts to pop back up, I'm just going to pull it really fast. Just going to go ahead and move to break even on that one. Maybe she'll still run down. We'll see. I'm short from 677.25. And I was expecting that to happen. I just got stopped out at break even. So we'll remove that one. So this, see this delta, how it's falling. It's usually a leading indicator. So like, even if the delta's positive and it's falling with a negative slope like that, that's usually the direction that the market is eventually going to go. So it's more of a timing thing. You know, shorting right into that, it's kind of risky, which I just tried to do. But if we can get that signal to pull up and tick down from the red zone, that would look a little bit better. What I don't like about it is that, you know, in between these delta candles, like, you see how there's like space in between them? You know, there's space there. There's, space from this one to like that other one. Might be kind of hard to see. Here, I'll change my view so you guys can see that easier. But there's like space in between those candles. They're really like, there's not a whole lot of conviction in the sellers right there is what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, if sellers are really stepping in, you want it to look like this. Like you want them to be really fat, gaining momentum to the downside. You don't want it to be, thin like this. I mean, there's just no conviction there. And that's why, like right now, you're seeing the price kind of pop back up here. Because the sellers are just, they got scared away or something. So we'll just be patient and continue to wait. Now, if this delta is getting more positive action right now, so if we start to see the delta turn, and then we get the signal to come back down and tick up above a rising delta, then we're going to be more bullish at that point. Or I'm going to be. I don't know about you guys. So we came down and we kissed this previous week high and bounced from there. And again, there wasn't really a clean long setup there, so this looks like a decent move up. But we might end up missing it, kind of like we missed the last one. The last one being like over here, like this was a really nice move up, but we missed it, or I missed it, because I wasn't really looking for that tick up in the power zone there. But in here, it's not even as clean as this other one was. We did have a trend line here that we ended up breaking through, and then it just took off after that. Maybe it's more like this. Yeah, probably more like that. There was a time where I would trade the break of these. So like this so if you have a trend line like this and then you take like the last high of the trend, there was a time where I would just trade the break of that wick. And in this particular situation, that would have worked pretty well. That's not really the strategy that I'm trading today, so. On the 5-minute, we are getting a tick up from the green zone. It's pretty bullish on the 5. The 5's tapering positive again. Those delta candles are certainly coming back on the 1. So it would appear that we need to start looking for a long setup. But those delta candles are still under the confirmation line, and we're up there in that upper power zone, so there might be a short in here before we go long. Remember when I said it might start moving at lunchtime? Well, it is 11:10 Central, so it's lunchtime in New York. And what do you know? The price started moving. Look at that. It was on the 11 a.m. candle exactly. It's funny how it's been doing that lately. That delta's coming back pretty strong. Really turned on a dime there, though, at 11. You know, those hourly candle closes, some people call that the flip. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but on the hourly, a lot of times you'll be going one direction, and then on that hourly candle close, there's a bunch of algorithms and things that kick in, and it could literally turn things on a dime. That's why they call it the flip. And that's exactly what we just had here at 11. That's why I always talk about the hourly candle close, because it can have a significant impact. We are right back up to that broadening formation line. It's looking a little less likely like that will actually play out today. Still could. Of course, anything's possible. Now the delta is back above the confirmation line, so yeah, that really turned around quick there. We did get that power zone tick down, but I'm hesitant on it because it was so strong on the push up. So it's probably best just to wait for the long setup here. Let's check out the 5-minute. Yeah, that is ugly. It's ugly, but if you were trading the 5, this tick up from the green zone right here, the delta above the rising confirmation line, that is right here, actually. I mean, it's a long. It's better down here at the 8 SMA, which is 703.75. Starting to flash our first lower high tick down with the tapering delta. I might actually take this short first. But instead of taking the close of that candle, I'm going to jump in on the 8 SMA. Just get a little bit better price if I can, since we are so bullish right here. Well, it almost got me on the 8, but I think I might have missed it. Ugh. I am still tired today. JWaz, did you get in on the close of that candle? On the lower high? Well, so far it looks like you're in the profit on that one. I was trying to get a better price on the 8, and that is the risk of doing that, is you can miss the trade. I probably should have just taken it like you did. Well, that signal's heading down towards that lower power zone. We might be able to go power zone to power zone here. The confirmation line is in the right spot. It's kind of flat near the middle. This is definitely more of the movement that I like to see versus what we were dealing with before. You got 50 ticks out of that one. It's a decent trade. We're back down in that lower power zone now. Our 50% line of this move is closer to VWAP. So we're ticking up from green zone, but I would prefer if it was actually in the power zone. So I'm going to hold off on that one. And I would feel more comfortable if it came back down and kissed VWAP first and then ticked up. Maybe I'll end up missing this one too. It's close to the power zone, just not quite there. One thing is for sure, this is the best movement we've seen, I think, today. From a strategy perspective. Getting another lower high tick down from that red zone. Still waiting to see if we can kiss VWAP and tick up from that lower power zone. Well, we kissed VWAP. Signal is in the power zone now. Will we get a reaction? Well, we kind of sliced through VWAP. We didn't hold there. We're on the session VWAP now. There is a little fair value gap down there that we just tapped into. Mark that off. And we're getting our tick up after touching that fair value gap. So I'm going to go long here if we close this way. Delta's tapering down a little bit. Six seconds. And I am long. From 669.75. I'm going to run to the bathroom quick. Maybe she'll pop up by the time I get back. Back to break even, huh? Delta still falling. Delta's going negative again. Ticking down below the Delta. And I'm underwater. So I think I won't pull it yet. I'm going to wait. Starting to put in a higher low on the signal. The Delta's starting to turn positive again. Just have a little bit of chop right there. Got chop on the 5-minute over here. Got that thin spotty Delta. And we got chop on the 15. Just kind of one of those choppy days. But like I said, the price action right now does look better than it did earlier. So I'm a little more optimistic in the lunchtime trades. Just waiting and being patient. We're flashing a little bit of a tick down here in the red zone. It's not the power zone. So as long as it's not the power zone, I'm going to stay long. Hopefully it runs up and hits my TP. Which just so happens to be right near that broadening formation line. Starting to get hungry. It is about that time. I'm going to move my stop to break even. We're so close to taking profit here. But our signal is in that upper power zone already now, so there's the potential that I might have to take profit a little early. Bulls are trying to step back in. If it barely ticks down here, I'm going to just stay in and Cross my fingers. Well, the bulls pulled out of that one, so hopefully we could make a quick little pop here. Take out that swing high. Starting to get that little pop now. Come on, market, let's go. Pop it up there. Just took out the swing high. Almost there. You can do it, market. You can do it. So close. There we go. We got her. Back in the green for the day. Well, guys, now that I'm back in the green and through all of that pain, I think I'm going to go eat some lunch and probably just call it a day here. Not really liking this price action today. Kind of sucks. It is getting better this afternoon, so maybe I'll put on a couple more trades. We will see. But as of right now, I am hungry. I'm going to go eat. So good luck to you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good one.
Oh, wow. Look at that move. It's like one of those big Delta candles. I mean, who even trades those tiny candles anymore? I like big fat candles, I can't deny. When the Delta's green and riding high, when a chart spikes thick with a bullish wick, I'm glued to my screen, that's the trick. I want to bounce quick, can't let it go. Big Delta bars, let that volume show. I'm zooming out, yeah, that's my groove. Catching waves in a Delta move. Wanna trade slow? Nah, too tame. This market's got heat, I'm in the game. Delta skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries, stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're a bore. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah, I wanna break through. You know, then hope and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. Big fat candles, can't deny when the volume surges up so high. Skinny trades can take a seat. Big fat deltas are what I beat. Well, traders low, let me see that life is goes. I'm my happy delta. Skinny, not my taste. Fat candles are my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got victories, stacking tall. No weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big delta's my golden key. Big delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're a bore. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those big moves, yeah, yeah, I wanna break through. You know, and hold and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah, I wanna break through, you know. Then hold, then play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't